Russian President Vladimir Putin has blown the lid off a global trafficking ring with roots in Israel and branches that stretch like tentacles into the heart of Hollywood and the dark corridors of Washington, D.C. According to Kremlin insiders, Israeli operatives, posing as doctors, diplomats and everyday professionals, have been running a covert adrenochrome network, feeding the elite's most depraved addictions. This isn't just about drugs, this is about control, ritual, corruption at the highest levels. Putin isn't mincing his words. He's unleashed his top intelligence agents with a single directive: expose everything. The network is deeper than anybody imagined, and the fallout? It's only just beginning. Before we dive in, if you're interested in sponsoring this show, please email sponsor@thepeoplesvoice.tv. Our videos attract millions of engaged viewers on X and Rumble. If you're interested in getting your product or service in front of all these people, please email us at sponsor@thepeoplesvoice.tv. President Vladimir Putin has been shaken by what the Adrenochrome Task Force has uncovered. In response, he's deployed Russia's top intelligence minds, zeroing in on the suspect HQ of this global nightmare, Israel. And already, the operation is bearing fruit. A satanic paedophile ring operating out of Israel has now been exposed in Russian media. The West, silent. Mainstream outlets have been ordered to ignore it. But make no mistake, this story is too big to bury. Elite Israeli politicians are engaged in raping and torturing children and drinking their blood, as details emerge that mirror the worst of the abuses documented in DC and Hollywood by our own depraved elites. One Israeli testified that a cousin trafficked her beginning at the age of 11. She said, "At 14, he took me to sadistic clubs. I endured torture and starvation at the hands of well-known and prominent individuals. I suffered harm in endless ways. There were public events and there were internal ceremonies where I was tied to a tall post with handcuffs. Around me there were other handcuffed victims with rituals of drinking menstrual blood and the slaughter of cats and other animals. They told me no one would believe me if I spoke out." Yael Ariel, one of the abuse survivors, shared, "I experienced ritual abuse over many years until my late teens and was forced to harm other children. I chose to speak out and make my voice heard. I received threats after revealing my story. From age 5 to age 20, I was harmed in these ceremonies." According to Ariel, she received testimonies from several women who claim that doctors, educators, police officers, and past and present members of the Israeli parliament were members of the elite paedophile ring. The Israeli elites are international, according to survivors, who detailed visits to these clubs from visiting dignitaries and politicians, many of whom raped and tortured children and drank their blood. Trafficking children across borders is a key part of the industry, and the United States is the primary destination for children trafficked from all four corners of the world via Israeli networks, into Los Angeles, New York, and Washington, D.C. Putin's task force says it plainly. These networks have been busted before. Names were named, evidence laid bare. Remember that time Israelis were busted harvesting children's organs on US soil? And yet, they keep going. No shame, no fear, just cold, calculated defiance.
These were arrests on a massive scale. Amongst those taken into custody by the FBI were city mayors, politicians and religious leaders. The authorities needed buses to cope with the sheer scale of the operation.
New Jersey's corruption problem is one of the worst, if not the worst, in the nation. Corruption is not only pervasive, it has become ingrained in New Jersey's political culture.
It's thought that religious charities controlled by prominent rabbis were used to launder cash. The arrests were part of a 10-year operation that uncovered money laundering on an international scale, as well as corruption and the sale of human organs in the US, Switzerland and Israel.
The list of people we arrested sounds like it should be the roster for a meeting of community leaders. But sadly, they weren't meeting in a boardroom this morning. They were in the FBI booking room.
Prosecutors say one rabbi was dealing in human kidneys for transplant for a decade, buying them from vulnerable people at a huge profit. The scale of the corruption across New Jersey has outraged residents.
It just goes back to the belief that Hudson County is incredibly corrupt. And I thought we were making headway and becoming less corrupt.
The number of arrests was remarkable even for New Jersey, where more than 130 public officials have pleaded guilty or been convicted of corruption in the last 10 years.
The elites behind this operation have learned one thing: they can survive exposure. That's made them bolder, more aggressive, and more determined than ever before to keep the machine running. In recent years, the markets for adrenochrome in children's bodies has exploded, with particular demand coming from Hollywood and DC. The trafficking networks have found ingenious new ways to package their trade in children's body parts, and drug enforcement agencies around the world are scrambling to keep up. Smugglers are now shifting hundreds of pounds of a drug made of human flesh and bones. At key smuggling ports around the world, authorities are intercepting shipments of adrenochrome, pressed into pill form, made from the powdered flesh of dead babies. It sounds unthinkable, but it's real. And the world needs to start asking the hard questions. Where did those babies come from? Who turned their remains into pills? And most chilling of all, who's ordering them?
South Korea reports seizing thousands of smuggled drug capsules containing an unusual added ingredient, the powdered flesh from dead babies. Some people believe they can cure disease. The Korea Customs Service says they were made in northeastern China from babies whose bodies were chopped into small pieces and dried on stoves before being turned into powder. But they wouldn't say where they believe the babies came from or exactly who made the capsules, citing possible diplomatic friction with Beijing. The contents, though, were identified by scientific testing.
When we analysed it, the powdered material sequence is better than a 99.7% match with a human DNA sequence.
No one's been reported ill from ingesting them, but scientist Shin Woo-gi warns they have the potential to be dangerous.
We also see superbacteria and other germs and viruses harmful to a person if consumed.
Some of the capsules were carried in luggage, others were sent by international mail. The smugglers told customs officials they believed the capsules were ordinary stamina boosters and didn't know the manufacturing process. One official said no one's been punished, but a customs clearance director at Incheon Airport warned consumers should be careful about health food supplements where the ingredients aren't clearly marked.
This isn't just evil, it's industrial, it's organised, and it's protected. Because when it comes to Israel, nobody is allowed to ask any questions. Nobody's allowed to ask why Israel is producing medication to irreversibly chemically castrate American children, while at the same time offering paedophiles a safe haven in Israel, where they cannot be served justice. On page 37 of the FBI documents on the dancing Israelis, the men caught filming and celebrating the collapse of the Twin Towers, there's a chilling quote that's been buried for years. An Israeli reportedly said, "Give us 20 years and we'll take control of your media and destroy your country from within." Well, it's been over 20 years. Look around. The media, the entertainment industry, rotten to the core, infiltrated, manipulated, and used as a weapon by elite paedophiles hiding in plain sight. This isn't a coincidence, it's fulfillment. Still need proof? Don't worry, we've got more than enough to blow this wide open. All the evidence, all the names, is coming up next. But first, an important word from our sponsor. Let's be real. We've all been fed the lie that wrinkle creams are the ticket to looking young. I call bullshit. Dr. John Lake, a renegade beauty expert out of Beverly Hills, says that's a scam. Most of those fixes are just overpriced lotions that do nothing, or worse, mess up your skin. He says that he's done with the scammy cosmetic industry. Why? Because he wants to expose something they don't want you to know about. A 2-minute trick that's like Photoshop for your face. Wrinkles gone. Years erased. And it's so easy, you'll be pissed that you fell for their junk before. The cosmetic industry is afraid of the secret, because this could gut their racket. Lake is spilling the truth in a free video exclusively for viewers of this channel. No strings, no interruptions, just all the steps needed to do it yourself. It's already amassed over 2 million views because it actually works. People are dropping decades and the comments don't lie. You've got to see this. Visit bhmd1.com/TPV, the link's below. Don't sleep on this because it's the real beauty secret they don't want you to know about. Visit bhmd1.com/TPV.